Welcome to another episode of Chad Sports Talk. You don't know my name's Chad. Take a dive on sports. Welcome to week 3 of the college football season. We've had some dandies out there. Last week you saw the Sun Belt go into some very top tier programs, ball upsets on the road. Seeing the number one team then kind of struggle, but eke out a victory. So it is moving right along. We kind of expect with college football, you never know what's going to happen any given Saturday, and that's just why we love this game. We love some of the intrigue, some of the pageantry that comes along with it. And last week I ended up going 6-4. I was kind of mediocre in that aspect. Picked some teams to win that underperformed, especially BC and Wisconsin. They both underperformed, did not, get the victories that they probably should have gotten because they didn't bother showing up. But Houston and Pitt both did. They lost in overtime. So, all in all, with those two games, I wasn't too disappointed with. The other two ones that just they didn't show up and they got outplayed. But this is the nature of college football. So before I dive in the rest of my preview of my picks for these upcoming games, if you could go ahead and smash that thumbs up for me, especially the content provider. You really pleases you two guys and really help promote this channel out. You also subscribe. A lot of you guys review my work. I love you all for doing it. Not many of you subscribe. This costs you a dime. It helps me provide more entertainment value for you. Now continue on for my last week. Also my other games to kind of look at. I went 4-4 in those games as well. I kind of call it a few, trying to call a few upsets. I did call for Iowa State to beat Iowa, so I was happy with that one. So overall, I am 15-9 in my picks. Not the best at doing this one, it seems, so far this season. So I'll give you my pick for the next 10. Plus, I think I have another additional 6 to keep an eye on. There should be intrigue behind those games. It should kind of keep people's senses, titillized to move forward. Let's just go ahead and start off with a very unique one that I think not many people will have on their radar, and it could provide some very unique aspects, and that's Old Dominion heading to Charlottesville to take on the Cavaliers. Now, the Cavaliers looked horrible against the Illini last week as the Illinois defense was all over them. And we all know Old Dominion had that upset against Virginia Tech 2 weeks ago, fell short against East Carolina last week. And it's one of these things that people kind of overlooked is right now Virginia's favored by 8.5. Old Dominion took care of a lot of mistakes Virginia Tech had, and I think if they can go after Virginia like Illinois did, Virginia's not going to have very much fun back there. I think Armstrong is a decent quarterback for himself, but if you don't give him time, he can't do anything. And, I'm halfway tempted to go with Virginia on this one, but I'm going to go with Old Dominion pull off another upset of a Power 5 program, another upset of an ACC school, and I'll take the Old Dominion to knock off Virginia to continue the Sun Belt streak of going to the Power 5 schools and beating them. We'll see how that one pays off for me there. Next up, a pair of ranked programs going at it. BYU is going to visit Oregon. Why Oregon's in the top 25, I have no idea. They got demolished by Georgia. And they had to demolish an FCS school to get back in there. So, they're going to struggle again against BYU. I don't think this Oregon team is ready. I don't know. It seems like they're not firing all cylinders. Maybe once they get in the conference play, maybe things will kind of work out better for them. But I don't see them doing that against BYU. BYU showed their tenacity against Baylor last week in a very key game. I mean, they took off a top 10 school in Baylor. So things are flying high right now in Provo with BYU. Oregon's favored by 3.5 right now. I don't see that. I see BYU winning probably by 3. I think it's going to be close just because of BYU. They don't seem to really blow anyone out that they really should. So, but I am definitely going to take BYU against Oregon. And then right now you got Penn State heading down to Auburn to take on the Tigers. Not long ago, Auburn went up to Happy Valley and lost to the Nittany Lions. And Auburn last week squeaked past San Jose State. This is definitely not the Auburn team of you can expect to really come out of the SEC and battle Alabama in the Iron Bowl. I don't know, maybe things will change towards the end of the season. But right now, there's just something just missing with the Auburn Tigers. There is something out there, floating out there that, don't trust Penn State on the road, which is possibly true. I could probably see Penn State coming down there and just laying an egg, Auburn just using Penn State as a springboard for a great season. I could definitely see that one. Right now, Penn State's favored by 3. And I really think that it's going to probably be like that. It's going to be a 3-point win. I'm still going to go with Penn State, even though I smell it, the possibility of an upset here. But I am still going to go with Penn State, eking out the win, going to 3-0. You have undefeated Kansas. Let's just let that sink in a minute. No, I got to say it again. You have undefeated Kansas. That's right. Kansas is undefeated. Who would have thunk it? Of course, same thing. Duke and North Carolina also undefeated. So you got 3 good basketball pro schools having 3 good football teams right now. Still early in the season, so we'll just pump the brakes a little bit. But they're heading down to Houston. Houston likes to play overtime. They like to play more ball than they really need to. It's probably going to cost them towards the end of the year because they're going to be gassed by then. And Kansas looks, halfway decent. Right now, Houston's favored by 8.5. No one's buying the Jayhawks just yet on the football field, and near am I. I think right now it's just kind of fluke. Congratulations to them. I mean, getting 2 wins already at the beginning of the season. Phenomenal. Normally they're kind of a bottom feeder. But I'm going to go Houston as well. I think it's going to be by 8.5. I think Kansas will make it a game. Make Houston fans kind of sweat a bit. But I think it's going to be kind of like a 3 or 6 point win by Houston. So if you're a betting man, take Kansas for the points. They should probably, cover the spread there. But otherwise, I think it's going to be Houston getting a good win against undefeated Kansas in this one. And then another one I think not too many people are going to kind of look at is Liberty. Undefeated Liberty now going to undefeated Wake Forest. Hartman has just been on a tear. Looks like he's going to try to rekindle what he did last season. I did kind of write off Wake Forest at the beginning of the year, so Hartman must have heard me and used it. I doubt it. I really do, but right now Wake Forest is favored by 16.5. I don't think it's going to be that much. At least 14. I think it'll be a 14-point win for Wake. But I don't think it's going to be 16.5. But stranger things have happened, and they could just blow out Liberty, or they could just lay a huge goose egg. I don't see the goose egg. I see them lighting up Liberty and winning big. Then the interesting one, you have the undefeated Texas Tech Red Raiders heading out to Raleigh to take on the undefeated ranked NC State Wolfpack. Now, the Texas Tech had to go to overtime to beat Houston. NC State have to thank the East Carolina kicker for their victory in East Carolina early in the season. So both teams had struggled victories, but they ended up getting the W's anyways. But NC State, I think, is one of these teams that's on the rise in the ACC. They should be making a good push for the division crown, possibly ACC title bid. So I have a lot of I'm pointing towards NC State to probably have a very good game this one. Right now they're favored by 10. It won't be that. It'll probably be a 3-point victory by the Wolfpack. But I do think NC State will come out victorious in this matchup. And then we head out to Washington. Seattle, Washington, where the Huskies will play host to ranked Michigan State Spartans. Now, the head coach and the quarterback used to be both in Indiana. they have a little bit of history with Michigan State. Now, they actually went into East Lansing and beat Michigan State. So there's some familiarity there. Right now, not much focus is put on Washington as of yet. More eyes on Michigan State, because basically what happened last year. But right now, Washington's favored by 3, and I am going to have to agree with that. I think Washington will be able to sneak past Michigan State in this one, get a good victory, a good win for the Pac-12, which they desperately need. They need to get some good wins by some of the other programs against ranked schools, and that will actually elevate the Pac-12 standings. But I think Washington will knock off Michigan State, go 3-0, and probably finally find themselves in the top 25. Then we head down to College Station, where Jimbo Fisher feeling some warmth in his backside as his seat is starting to kindle a little bit due to his team's poor performance against Appalachian State. Now, kudos to the Mountaineers last week. They just took it to the Aggies and beaten them at home. Part of the great week on Sun Belt had last week. Now they have to brace for a hurricane. That's right. The U is coming to College Station, and they are poised to make a great season this year. They got everything's going in the right direction, and with this being said, I mean, I'm not sure that Texas A&M is going to be ready for them either. I really don't. I think it's going to be Miami all day long. Jimbo's going to struggle once again, losing back-to-back games at home. It's not going to make his a tenure at College Station very good. I mean, he'll have to do a nice, big, deep run in SEC play to really help him out, but I think Miami will edge them out right now. For some reason, Texas A&M is favored by 6.5. I don't think it's gonna be that. I think it's gonna be Miami by 3. So that's what I'm going with. And then Mississippi State is going to head into LSU. This should be a pretty good matchup between a pair of SEC West programs. And Jim Kelly is going to get his first taste of SEC play on a regular season. And Rogers is just poised to destroy him. Will Rogers is going to ride into town, shoot up some Bayou Bengals, and leave. Right now, Mississippi State's favored by 2.5. I don't see any difference in this one. LSU fans, just be prepared for a long, long season with Jim Kelly as your head coach. I should know. So, yeah, Mississippi State wins. And then Georgia, now number 1 team in the nation, go to South Carolina. Not going to be an easy game right there. It's going to be Georgia all day long. South Carolina might get a few cheap shots in there, but won't be enough to stop the Bulldogs as they just roll over the Gamecocks in Columbia. Well, those are my 10 games that I was going to go after. Here's some other games I'm going to find a little bit interesting. Some of them may not be. We'll see how it kind of goes. One is an old school rivalry matchup dating back to the old Big 8 days. Oklahoma and Nebraska going at it, completing their home-and-home series. The first game without head coach Scott Frost at the helm. Was going to be the same story, regardless who's the head coach out there. I'm just not sure what that needs to happen with the Cornhuskers program. I think this year is going to be just a wash for them. They just kind of have to take their lumps, get the good wins when they get them, try and establish something with their students, and try to see if those will stay next year, depending on, of course, who they get as a head coach. But I think the Sooners are just going to walk all over them. Then you have undefeated Cal heading to South Bend to take on the winless Irish. Yeah, it's been a long time since I said that phrase. Buckner's been injured, so he's not the starter for Notre Dame. It's now Pine, who was a little bit more accurate like last week against Marshall, but not as mobile as Buckner. But that Notre Dame offense just these past 2 weeks have just looked terrible. They got to do something to kind of break the mold. That offensive line really has to protect the quarterback. I have a feeling that Notre Dame will bounce back against Cal, get that victory. Hopefully, stop the slide from Freeman, who's now 0-3 in his debut with the Irish. The only Notre Dame head coach to ever do that. So they definitely got to look at that game and try to move forward. Then you have San Diego State heading up to Salt Lake City to take on Utah. And San Diego State got manhandled by the Arizona at home, opening their new stadium. Utah got upset by Florida in the Swamp. So these two teams definitely started off in bad direction. They're both now 1-1, so it's time for them to get that second win, kind of get their season back on track. And as much as San Diego State was a pain to the Pac-12 schools last year, it looks like this year maybe not so much. I do think Utah is going to look to try to take on a quality school, because last week wasn't nobody quality when they put up 70-plus points. Look like they're taking on a NIA school. But I think Utah should get everything correct for them, move in the right direction, so that way they can get ready for Pac-12 play. And then you have Fresno State taking on USC. USC is looking pretty good. Lincoln Riley's got that team humming. Of course, he brought his quarterback over from Oklahoma, which really helps. So he already has a quarterback that understands his offensive mindset. So they're going to continue on. Fresno State should, make it a little interesting early, but it'll be too much Trojans, and USC should roll away. Then you get UTSA visiting Texas. Texas is now using their second quarterback. Their backup quarterback's now their starter, QB1, because Ewers got hurt against Alabama, so they can be back. Roadrunners have been playing kind of dangerously. The past 2 games have gone to overtime. They split both of those. They can't do that against Texas. Texas is just going to manhandle them, and then just going to make UTSA just wishing they're signed up for this game. I really do. I think Texas will bounce back and beat the Roadrunners, and have to get ready for their Big 12 play. And then an interesting one that I looked at, North Dakota State. Yes, the FCS powerhouse is heading out to Tucson to take on Arizona. We've seen one of the other FCS schools that was a pretty good South Dakota State take it to Iowa, where no defensive touchdowns were scored, or no touchdowns paired with a score, excuse me. North Dakota State, I think, is just going to be too much for Arizona. As much as Arizona loved that win against San Diego State, that's going to be in the rearview mirror, and I think the Bison's going to come in there and just stampede the Wildcats. I mean, this is only the second time I've mentioned a FCS school anywhere in there. I think that week 0 I had Austin Peay. So we'll see how this one kind of plays out, but it's going to be North Dakota State winning Arizona, and those are the extra games I kind of looked at, and some really interesting ones. Like another one's like Ole Miss at Georgia Tech should be kind of interesting, even though Ole Miss is favored by 17. But beyond that, there's not many other games that really tickle the fancy too much, unless you want to go to the undefeated showdown in Manhattan, Kansas, between Tulane and Kansas State. If you're fans of those programs, you're definitely going to look at that showdown and watch Kansas State win. But there you go. Those are my games. We'll just kind of see if I can do better in 6-4 than I did last week. Hopefully I can get more than 7 wins, which right now is my season best. And the only time will tell how these games play out. Hey, just let me know down below what you think of these picks. Do you think I'm really wrong on a lot of these? Which was possibly I could be. Which game are you looking forward to this weekend for college football? Who is the next upset? I think that's going to be another key aspect. Hey, while you're there, make sure you hit that thumbs up. You can also share this video with your friends or family. It really helps promote this channel out. Once you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification. That'll let you know next time I upload any more content to this channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.